Hello and welcome to A Cultured Life. I decided to get on here and give a little bit of background as to who I am, so you guys know um, where I come from, how long I've been doing cultures and plants and all that. Um, First of all, a little bit of personal information. I'm currently a single mom. I've been a single mom for 18 years now, believe it or not. My daughter is a senior this year. So, whew, like, she stayed alive. We survived. We survived the senior year. Um, she's doing really great. She's been dancing for 6 years now. Took a little bit of a break for a year because we were moving and we got a Yorkie and a cat. It was just a busy year for us a couple years ago, but the last couple years she's been doing speaking of my Yorkie, he's wanting to say hi to me right now. 1 minute, I think he wants some of my Yorkie here. Say hi to everybody. Say hi to everybody. You say hi? You say hi? So he's 3 years old now, and our cat is a year. So, but yes, so, and I'm a, as I said, been a single mom for 18 years. Whenever my daughter was 6 months old, we left my abusive husband. And that was, goodness, that was a rough journey going through all that. It wasn't my desire, but it was for our safety. It's something that we needed to do, that I needed to do. And my daughter, I'm very thankful to the Lord. My daughter has, been doing great. She's and been in the honor roll. She's been welcomed into the honors society and all that stuff a couple years, and she's been really great. So whenever my daughter was little, when she was about 1 year old, I started. So that's about 17 years ago. I started sourdough. I had a friend who was doing sourdough, and she gave me a sourdough. Some of her sourdough starters, some of her sourdough, and so ever since then I've been doing sourdough. At first it was a little intimidating for me because it just didn't make sense to me, because I just was not used to that type of baking and type of cooking. But once I got past the difficulty of it, it's not difficult at all, but once I got past the not understanding it and understood it, it became so easy. And since I started with pancakes and pizza and bread, and then since then now I'm doing bagels. I'm making bagels. Bagels are so easy to make. Sourdough bagels, sourdough muffins, Pop-Tarts, the dough for Pop-Tarts, pastry, which is similar, and all sorts. My daughter likes to bake the bread. She does a really good job at baking sourdough bread. She does the scoring on the top and everything, and she does really good with that. So I've been doing sourdough now for like 17 years, and I love it. I feel so much better whenever I eat sourdough compared to just regular bread. Even if it's organic bread, I feel so much better. I grind my own flour. I recently bought a flour grinder for my KitchenAid mixer, and it's not the KitchenAid brand, but it's made for mixer. It's made for KitchenAid mixer. It's metal, so I opted for the metal one because the KitchenAid one is plastic. And when we moved last time, some of our KitchenAid items that were plastic broke, and I had to rebuy them. So I figured I'd better get a metal one, and it grinds well, but it doesn't grind quite as fine as I like it to. So maybe, but with putting in the sourdough, it just eats it down, so you can't tell when you put it in the sourdough. But maybe in the future, I don't know, maybe I'll invest in a mill, because I can tell the difference whenever I use fresh ground flour compared to not. Even if I buy organic, it just is so much better. It's just so much better. It's really different. It's just more beneficial. I feel healthier. I feel better. But so 1 minute. You went in, honey? Go ahead. Go ahead. No, they're not for you. They're not for you. So, and then moving on, and also I've, on a personal note, I've also been, whenever I've been self-employed ever since, I'm currently not running my own business as of now. But for about 12 years, I had my own business. From when my daughter was about a year old was when I started it, because I didn't want to pay for childcare, because I was a single mom, so I had to go work. I didn't want to pay for childcare, and I didn't want to I didn't want to worry about having to get her there and then go to work and then having to pick her up, having to get off of work to pick her up and all that stuff. So I started my own business, and that was great. But I really got, it was very tiring. I love it. I loved it, but it's very taxing. And so around whenever my daughter was 12, I decided to go get a full-time job as a CDL, because before that, when my daughter was 1 or 2, maybe she was 2 or 3, I started school bus driving, to add to my business, to add some income to my business, because as a single mom, I only had so many hours in the day to work. I didn't have another income coming in, so I added that, that added some income for me, and I drove school bus for 7 years, and I loved it. But then I went to full-time CDL driving, Class CDL B. So I've been a Class CDL B truck driver for a local company for the last 7 years now, and it's not, school bus driving and truck driving are not what I would have chosen, but being a CDL, being a CDL, having your CDL, it gives good income, and being a single mom, I needed something that gave good income. So so aside from that, my first, like I said, my first culture was sourdough about 17 years ago. I started on sourdough. Then I started on kombucha probably about 5 years ago. I wanted to do that earlier, but I just never got to do it. So I like to get my starters from a culture health, for Cultures for Health. That's what it is. River Sabbath. Cultures for Health. I like to get my my cultures from there, because they're always your best when I get them. And I've had to get a SCOBY twice, because the last time we moved, the SCOBY just I let it go too long, which is or no, that wasn't SCOBY, that was my Kefir beans. I had to rebuy from Cultures for Health, because I just let them go too long. But my SCOBY, oh my gosh, it's just crazy. I have to make a new kombucha every week, because if I don't, the SCOBY just gets so thick. Or if I just leave it go, and then I tear it apart, so that it's smaller, because you don't want a large SCOBY, because a large SCOBY will make your kombucha stronger, and some people like that, but I don't like an extremely strong SCOBY, or extremely long sourdough. Extremely long kombucha. Extremely strong kombucha. And what I do is, whenever it's really strong, I water it down a lot, and I pour it in my I water my plants with it, and the plants love it. The only plant I found that freaked out was my fiddly fig plant, and I've heard from some people that it's very a Germanic plant, so I would not recommend it for that. But all my other plants so far so good. They've been doing well with that. It's not a regular thing, but just whenever I have extra kombucha, I water it down a lot. And I like maybe I put like 2 cups of kombucha into 8 cups of water, like something like that. And then I water them. I've even sprinkled them over I even pour the water over my plants. And then I started doing taking care of plants about 5 years ago when my mom passed away. I got this plant right here, this peace lily right here. This is the one that started it all, this peace lily. And I was given that whenever my mom passed away, and I was like, I have to keep this alive, because before I had plants, but it was like a hit or miss, like it just didn't work for me. But I've learned so much through having to keep this peace lily alive. And you guys, you can see I have so many plants now, and I love them. I've learned so much about, they say before you have a baby, before you get married and have kids, to learn to take care of plants, and oh my gosh, it is so beneficial, because truly you learn a lot from taking care of plants. So I'll scan at the end here, I'll scan my plants and let you know. I have a short sewing on my plants. I just did it yesterday, I believe, but I'll scan on my plants here in a minute when I'm done here talking. So I started plants 5 years ago, and I've learned a lot. I'm still learning a lot, which everything, you still continue to learn. And then about maybe 2 years ago, I started on kefir. My daughter started on water kefir grains probably about maybe 3 years ago, in place of soda, and she loves doing that. She loves making water kefir grains. And she can just throw it in the fridge and leave them set, and then bring it back out when she wants to make some more again, and just restart it. And I've been doing the milk kefir, and I love the milk kefir in place of yogurt, because I've been learning about blood type diet, and I'm a blood type O, and blood type O doesn't do as well with milk, which I'm not a huge milk drinker, but I do notice a difference, like if I drink kefir instead of milk, which milk doesn't really do bad for me. Like I don't drink a lot, like maybe a cup a day, maybe if at the most, like but kefir, I can tell a difference whenever I do use kefir instead. And making kefir at home with kefir grains, you can make it not as strong, because a lot of milk kefir in the stores I find is very strong, and I just don't like that strong taste to it, at least not as of now. And my favorite so far has been honey in the kefir, like just really quick throw honey in the kefir. For the day, you don't want to actually pour honey in the kefir and then just leave it sit in the fridge, because the honey will make it ferment more, the sugar, because kefir eats sugar, just like sourdough, and kombucha eats its sugar, and it'll make it more sour over time. So I throw honey in it, I've thrown peaches in it, blueberries, and it just is so good. Just treat it like a yogurt, just add, I've done overnight oats with it, and it's just really, really good. It's much more healthy. And then recently, just within the last couple months, I started doing fermenting vegetables. I've been wanting to do that forever, because I love going to the farm stands and getting those fermented vegetables. They are the canned vegetables. They're usually fermented, and they're always so good. I just love them. And I'm paying like $5 to $7 for a little can of fermented vegetables. I can easily make this at home. And so I just did it for the first time like a month ago. I have a video up about that, and I don't know if I didn't do the what are those tops called that you put on the fermented vegetables, the gulp or whatever, the ones that have the thing you put on top of the lid, and you have water in it, and then the air escapes out of the water, and it's a safer way. And I did that way, and then I did where I put the weight on top. I have a glass weight on top of the jar, And I just put that in and then put a mason lid on lightly, like one of those plastic mason lids. Um, and actually, the the one with just the weight on top, and the mason lid, that seemed to do. I like the taste of it much better. I don't know if I did something wrong with the what's that called, with the thing on the top of the jar, the little gasket thing. I don't know if I didn't do something right, or if I need to ferment it longer, but I ended up throwing them away because I just did not like the taste of it. I ended up leaving them set for like two weeks. So if anybody has an idea or tips on that, if they know maybe I did something wrong, I'm open to suggestions and ideas and wisdom on that. And also, then another thing with I've been starting within the last 2 months maybe, has been vermiculture, and that's where you keep worms and you feed them with your scraps, your vegetable scraps and your fruit scraps, and they make vermicompost for your plants. And instead of having to go out and um, buy for feed for your plants, it's you do that in place of it. It's like it's a compost. It doesn't stink. You know, worms don't stink. They don't stink. As long as you don't give them too much food, and and the food doesn't go bad. The process of fermenting them, of cultivating, them, does not, vermiculture does not stink. The leftover vermicompost does not stink. I'm still waiting to use the vermicompost. I'm still waiting on that. I need to wait. I hear it takes a couple months, and I'm still waiting. I think maybe in the next couple weeks I might. I've also put videos up on that. And I'm still in the process of learning all about that. So if any of y'all out there know anything about that, that would be great. And I like to keep it simple as possible, but I like to learn, because I have a busy life. I work about 54 hours a week, up to 60 hours a week, depends on how the week goes, plus taking my daughter to dance. And so I like to keep it as simple as possible. I've learned a lot from Farmhouse on Boone with all of that. With sourdough, she's helped me understand sourdough a lot easier and making it more simple. I use a lot of her recipes. She's great in that and making things simple. And I recently have been watching some people about vermiculture. I haven't been watching them enough to know to know the names off the top of my head. One of them is something like, I don't remember the exact. I'm not gonna be able to get it right. So that's my process of learning cultures. And I just love putting cultures into my life as much as possible. And also, that has also expanded into my knowledge of just general life, just understanding life in general, like how where you live has a culture, how you create a culture for your life. Whether it's, if you're yelling and screaming at your kids all the time, that's a culture creating. Is that a good culture? Is that not a good culture? And I, as a Christian, am creating, a culture of honoring the Lord, of pleasing the Lord, or being obedient to the Holy Spirit. That's a culture of itself, raising my child and being respectful, having a good work ethic, that's a culture. Not being lazy, being kind, being respectful, that's creating a culture. We all have a culture. We all are creating a culture in our life. And being aware of that is very, very helpful, because then we know what our shortcomings are, how we can do better, what our weaknesses may be, how we need to change things. And it's just such a neat way of seeing things, because we see then how, like, for instance, when I see God's hand in my life, I'm able to see it more clearly, because God creates cultures in our life. And it's just such an interesting way of seeing life, as well as in being able to do cultures, like food cultures, learning from that, and vermiculture with the worms. So I'm pretty sure that's all I wanted to cover. I wanted to introduce myself, give you a little bit of background to who I am, the experience I've had in cultures. And I just, I'm excited of learning about how to do this YouTube, and like this video is, I have this video set up and it's not like looking at me straight, it's off angle, but this is good enough for me. I'm a simple type of person. I don't need to be, at least as of now, I'm just like, go with the flow. I feel like doing a video, let's just do it, right? So I guess that's a culture right there. So, well, thank you for watching this video, and I hope you you join me in growing cultures, and I hope you have a great day. Goodbye. The river's saying bye too. I don't know if you heard that or not. Bye bye.